In a small, quiet town nestled between rolling hills and a murmuring river, lived a boy named Leo. To everyone else, Leo was just an ordinary kid, a bit of a daydreamer perhaps, but ordinary nonetheless. But Leo had a secret. He possessed an old, leather-bound book, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and faded maps, a forgotten gift from his grandfather. One rainy afternoon, while tracing the lines of a peculiar map, Leo's finger lingered on a symbol that looked like a spiraling galaxy. Suddenly, the book began to glow, a soft golden light pulsing from its pages. The air in his room grew thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and a swirling vortex of colors opened up right in front of him. Curiosity overriding his fear, Leo clutched the book tightly and stepped through. He stumbled out onto soft, glowing moss in a forest unlike any he had ever seen. The trees were colossal, their leaves shimmering in shades of silver and sapphire. Strange, melodious calls echoed through the air, and tiny winged lights, like fireflies with personalities, danced around him. This was the world from his grandfather's book, a land of magic and wonder called Ethelgard. His initial awe was quickly replaced by a sense of purpose. The book, he realized, wasn't just a collection of maps. It was a guide, a key. His grandfather hadn't just been a traveler. He had been a guardian of this realm, and now that responsibility had fallen to Leo. His first challenge came sooner than he expected. A group of mischievous sprites, known as Glimmerwings, had stolen the Sunstone, a gem that kept the Whispering Woods vibrant and alive. Without it, the glowing moss was fading, and the silver leaves were turning a dull grey. The Glimmerwings, though playful, were incredibly fast and clever. Leo consulted his book. It spoke of the Glimmerwings' love for riddles and shiny objects. An idea sparked in his mind. He found a stream filled with smooth, polished stones. Using a piece of reflective foil from a chocolate bar he still had in his pocket, he wrapped one of the stones, making it glitter brilliantly in the ethereal light. He then made his way to the Glimmerwing nest, a chaotic structure of twigs and stolen trinkets high in a silver-leafed tree. "I have a challenge for you, quick-witted Glimmerwings," Leo called out. The sprites zipped out, chattering excitedly. "A riddle for a trade. If you solve it, you can have this treasure." He held up the sparkling stone. Their tiny eyes widened. "What has an eye but cannot see?" he asked. The Glimmerwings buzzed around, whispering and giggling. A moment later, one darted forward and chirped a needle. Leo smiled and tossed them the foil-wrapped stone. True to their nature, they were delighted with the new shiny object and, in a flash of light, returned the much larger, warmly glowing sunstone. As he placed it back on its pedestal, the forest floor lit up once more, and a wave of life seemed to pulse through the woods. The Glimmerwings, now his friends, danced around his head in thanks before zipping away. Leo's journey continued, taking him from the Whispering Woods to the Crystal Mountains, a breathtaking range of peaks made of pure, translucent crystal that chimed with the wind. The book told of a griffin, a majestic creature with the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle, who guarded the passage through the mountains. But this griffin, whose name was Alarion, was in distress. A dark shadow had fallen over his peak, a creeping blight that was corrupting the crystals and sapping his strength. The blight was the work of a shadow sorcerer who sought to control Ethelgard by poisoning its heart. Alarion, proud and powerful, was weakening, unable to fly. Leo knew he had to help. Remembering a chapter in his book on healing magic, Leo searched the mountain slopes for a rare flower called the moon petal, which bloomed only in the reflected light of Ethelgard's twin moons. It was a perilous climb, but with determination he found a cluster of the ethereal silver flowers. He crushed the petals as the book instructed, mixing them with pure mountain spring water to create a glowing paste. Approaching the mighty griffin, Leo spoke in a calm, steady voice, showing he meant no harm. Alarion, seeing the boy's courage, lowered his great head. Leo gently applied the paste to the dark patches on the griffin's feathers. A warm, golden light spread from the paste, pushing back the shadow. Strength returned to Alarion's limbs, and with a powerful cry that echoed through the peaks, he stretched his massive wings. He was healed. Grateful, Alarion pledged his allegiance to Leo. The shadow sorcerer's fortress lies beyond the sunken sea. The griffin rumbled, his voice like rolling thunder. It is a dangerous path, but I will carry you. With a leap, Alarion took to the skies, Leo holding on tightly to his back. They soared above the clouds. The world of Ethelgard spread out below them like a living map. They flew over vast, shimmering plains and across the sunken sea, a body of water that floated in the sky, with islands of earth and ancient ruins drifting within it. Fish with wings of light swam through the air around them. It was a sight that filled Leo with a profound sense of wonder and solidified his resolve to protect this beautiful world. They arrived at a jagged, dark island where a twisted fortress of obsidian pierced the clouds. This was the domain of the shadow sorcerer. The air was cold and heavy with dark energy. Alarion landed silently, and Leo dismounted, his heart pounding. The final chapter of the book was dedicated to this very moment. It didn't describe a weapon or a powerful spell, but something far more potent, light and courage. The sorcerer fed on fear and doubt. The only way to defeat him was to face him without any. Inside the fortress, corridors twisted like a maze. Shadowy figures whispered from the walls, trying to fill Leo's mind with fear, reminding him of how small he was, how alone. But he wasn't alone. He thought of the glimmer wings of Alarion, of his grandfather. He clutched the book, its gentle warmth a constant reassurance. He finally reached a throne room. The shadow sorcerer was a formless entity, a vortex of darkness with two malevolent red eyes. A mere child has come to challenge me. The sorcerer's voice hissed, echoing in Leo's mind. You will be consumed by your own fear. The darkness surged towards him, but Leo stood his ground. He opened the book to the final page, which was completely blank, pouring all his courage, all his hope, and all his love for the magical world into that page. He held it up. A brilliant, pure white light erupted from the book, a stark contrast to the oppressive darkness. It wasn't a light of destruction, but of purity and truth. It didn't fight the shadows. It simply filled the space they occupied. The sorcerer shrieked as the light washed over him, not in pain, but in disbelief. The darkness couldn't exist in the presence of such unwavering light. It receded, shrinking until it was nothing more than a wisp, which then vanished entirely. With the sorcerer gone, the fortress began to crumble, but not violently. The dark obsidian dissolved into harmless sand, revealing the beautiful, vibrant island that had been trapped beneath. Sunlight, real sunlight, streamed down for the first time in ages. Alarion landed beside Leo, nudging him gently with his head. The blight across Ethelgard was gone. The balance was restored. His quest was complete. As Leo stood on the Nausini island, the book in his hands began to glow again. He knew it was time to go home. He said his goodbyes to Alarion, promising to return if he was ever needed. The griffin gave a respectful nod, a promise between guardians. Leo stepped back through the portal, finding himself in his room, the rainy afternoon having just passed. The book lay on the floor, its glow fading. To the outside world, only a few hours had gone by, but for Leo, a lifetime of adventure had just begun. He was no longer just a daydreamer. He was Leo, the guardian of Ethelgard. He knew his life would never be ordinary again, and as he looked out his window at the familiar town, he smiled, holding his secret close, ready for whatever magic the next page of his life would turn. Thanks for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed Leo's adventure, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more magical tales. Let us know in the comments what kind of adventure you'd like to see next. See you soon.